It feels like it was just last year that I was talking about the previous T20 World Cup. Where does the time go? Oh, yes. They didn't even bother redesigning the logo. Anyway, 2 years after the initial scheduled date, Australia will be hosting the Men's T20 World Cup for the very first time. Let's check out the stadiums that'll be used. Adelaide Oval. It might be known as the City of Churches, but Adelaide sure knows how to build a stadium as well. This place was completely redeveloped about a decade ago from a quaint old-fashioned ground into a world-class modern stadium. Thankfully, the venue retains many of its old-school features, such as the ivy-covered brick exterior, the manual scoreboard, grass hill, and those fig trees back there. Not only that, but the old and new elements blend together seamlessly. In my eyes, it's a near perfect stadium. And no, I'm not from Adelaide. The city that Bluey calls home has a stadium with a fittingly childlike name, the Gabba, which is simply short for Woolloongabba, the suburb in which it's located. It also gets the nickname the Gabbatoir, to the chagrin of vegans and cows alike. Although it's come a long way from when there was a greyhound track around the field, design-wise it still doesn't set the world alight. What the Gabba does get a lot of praise for is the pitch, which tends to offer a bit of something for bat and ball, as well as the atmosphere, which is often louder than the size of the crowd would suggest. Kardinia Park is the odd one out, not only because Geelong is the only regional city to host matches at the event, but throughout its history has been almost exclusively a football venue, with the occasional soccer match here and there. However, over the last few years it has been hosting the occasional T20 game. If you happen to watch some of those games, you would have immediately noticed the ground's odd dimensions. With the pitch being aligned diagonally, it leaves it with some awkward looking sections on the boundary. Regardless, after renovations in recent years, it's a solid venue. In the picturesque surrounds of Hobart is Bellerive Oval, that sits just a stone's throw from a beach that shares its name. Well, it's called Bellerive Beach, not Bellerive Oval. Yeah, okay. The stadium has an eclectic mix of stands, from the small, to the grassy, to the glassy, and then you have the modern Ricky Ponting stand which just doesn't even try to match the rest of the ground. I can only assume they plan to eventually change all the seats in the house to match those shades of blue. For now, the ground has an odd look to it for sure, but it's still one of my favourites. Perth Stadium is the newest cricket stadium in the country, and I think that's quite apparent just by looking at it. Starting with that beautiful bronze-coloured aluminium facade. There's not a lot about the design that could be described as traditional. In fact, the eagle-eyed amongst you may have noticed that it's the only venue so far that doesn't make use of light towers. Rather, all the lighting is mounted to the roof. It's certainly a very impressive modern stadium, yet it remains behind the times. By about 2 hours. The Melbourne Cricket Ground was, up until recently, the largest cricket stadium in the world. Although it's been usurped in terms of capacity, it's still probably the most accomplished cricket stadium in the world, other than Lord's of course. Just in recent times it hosted the Women's T20 final, which attracted one of the largest crowds in the history of women's sports, and of course the One Day World Cup final in 2015. So it comes as no surprise that it'll be hosting the final of this tournament as well. Even though it's no longer the biggest, I still think it's the most intimidating stadium in world cricket, especially when packed to the brim. The Sydney Cricket Ground is roughly the same age as the MCG, but there's a noticeable difference in the stadium's appearance. While it hasn't kept any of its 1840s design, some parts of the stadium are over 100 years old. And I talked about the seamless blend of old and new at Adelaide Oval, but at the SCG they haven't even tried. The old-fashioned ladies and member stands look a little out of place, but that just adds to the charm of the ground. something that the big concrete bowl style stadiums lack. Beautiful ground. So, there you have it. Who do you think will win this year's World Cup? My money's on Namibia. And I mean, literally all of my money is on Namibia. I'm kinda nervous, to be honest. Thanks for watching, have a good one.